Okay. So why did you decide to open Area 51?
I decided to open Area 51 because it was a lifelong dream since I was a kid. I'd worked in the industry for a number of years before opening the store and decided that I really wanted to try to venture out on my own. Being an entrepreneur had always been something that I wanted to do, and this was what my love was. And I also had a lot of experience in this industry, so for me everything just kind of worked out to where I wanted to make this happen.
And how did you choose the original location of Area 51?
It was really interesting. We went through a process of trying to find the best area that was suited for a comic book and gaming store. We did this by process of elimination for cities that didn't already have competition, so to speak. Grapevine is where we ended up choosing our location for Area 51 because there was not very many other stores like ours in the area. It also mattered for the driving distance for most people. So when we chose Area 51's location on Main Street in Grapevine, our first location, that was mainly because the demographics of the area fit our needs. There was no competition near us, and it also offered a very nice walk-by location with a lot of exposure to traffic.
What was Area 51's first day open like?
Our first day open at Area 51 was actually really slow. Miserable. It was bittersweet because our AC unit was broken. We opened in August, so in Texas that meant it was extremely hot. But as far as the first day open, it was a really proud day. It was a happy day. A lot of problems to work through, but that's part of owning a small business.
What kind of problems were there to work through?
When you open a small business, especially for the first time, it's really difficult because you don't have a lot of... You should probably ask that question again so there's not a fly on there.
What kind of problems were there?
In the beginning, there were a lot of problems with Area 51. I was a very young, starting out business owner. I didn't have a lot of knowledge on the back side of owning a business. Although I had college education and a degree, it didn't really prepare me for the ups and downs of what owning a business truly would be. So when we first started, there were a lot of issues with marketing and things that we made the assumption would happen naturally. We hoped that walk-through traffic would be a good start to our business. And actually we had to go out and do a lot more marketing than what we originally planned to do. We also had a lot of other things, come up with, building issues. The AC unit not working for an issue was a very big deal because in commercial real estate, the tenant is responsible even though you're renting a space. Unlike in an apartment or a home where you're renting a space and the landlord is responsible. So it's a big deal, and it's a learning curve.
What kind of advertising did you do for Area 51?
In the beginning, we did a lot of advertising for Area 51 that ranged anywhere from some media. We did a commercial for some of the local mall and skating rinks that they would run on TVs there in the area. We also did some print advertising both in local papers. We did some ad magazine flyers to where it was coupon circulars. We did some mailers and things like that. We also did a lot of web promotion with things like Google AdWords and Yahoo.
So about how many people visit Area 51 throughout a week?
Each week is different depending on the season. In the summertime, we have a lot more traffic because a lot of teenagers and kids are out of school. But on an average week, somewhere between 200 and 300 come through the store.
And what do you personally do for Area 51?
Most of the time, I do a lot of the online marketing and promotion. I do a lot of the outreach, a lot of the things that are outside the store. I also help answer some of the emails, public relations, things like that, and also dictate to the employees what to do on a daily basis.
Then how many staff members does Area 51 currently employ?
Area 51 actually has only 2 other staff members besides myself. We also partner with another company that does our online side, and it also has 2 employees. So as a whole, including myself, there are 5 total staff members on premises.
And why did you name Area 51 Area 51?
That actually, the reason we named Area 51 what we did, mainly because we started with several different names that I chose, most of which were terrible names. I ran it by my manager, Mike, who gave me his thoughts. He had been in the industry for quite some time. We tossed a few names around, and I couldn't really come up with something. It was really weird because my mom's company, his name is Retro 1951. So for some reason, the 51 kept ringing in my head. And we also wanted something that began with the letter A, so that in alphabetized lists we would be near the top. So after a while, something just happened, and I thought aliens, and the next thing I know, we're a sci-fi pop culture type industry. So Area 51, everybody knows what Area 51 is, and relates it to sci-fi and kind of weird different types of things. So we just kind of stuck with Area 51.
What other names did you try out?
Our first name was actually The Card Shop, which for me was a personal favorite just because when I used to be a kid and I used to tell my mom I wanted to go up to the store, it would always be, "Hey Mom, can I go to the card shop today?" But we were pretty sure that meant we were going to get a lot of little old ladies looking for Hallmark cards, and that really wasn't what we did. Comic books and Hallmark cards don't necessarily go together. So we went back to the drawing board. We came up with a few other names for Area 51 that were not as good. They didn't really describe what our industry was. So we decided that we would go back to the drawing board yet again. And after a little bit of thought and maybe some luck, we came upon the name Area 51.
So what is the Area 51 Championship?
The Area 51 Championship is something that we started back in 2009. It essentially is for a game called Magic the Gathering, which is one of the more competitive games that we participate in, both sell. We run a championship here because we have a larger competitive player base, which is something that a lot of other stores in the area do not have. But we wanted to kind of stand out and give something back to our players. It also helps us because the championship incentivizes players to come in on a weekly basis and participate in events to try to gain status and to eventually qualify for what we call the championship. The championship itself is a single tournament that we hold usually at the end of July, just before all the college kids go back to school. And for us, that tournament is something that is a free tournament where players play in several rounds of constructed format, which means that they build their own deck and bring it to play. And then after they finish the constructed rounds, the top set number of players will move on to what we call limited format, which is a little bit more skill-intensive format where they have to test not knowing what they're going to be playing with and choosing their cards out of basically a sealed pool. And then they have to play in a single elimination, basically 3 rounds of single elimination to determine who's going to be the Area 51 champion. And the champion then gets recognition for the year. We promote them on our website. We also give them, usually a very expensive prize, usually cards that are expensive, plaque, trophy, something like that.
So what is the best part of owning your own business?
It's good and bad. Owning your own business is something that I feel has definitely helped me understand business in general a lot better than what I thought I knew in the beginning. The best part of owning your own business is that you can choose to work any 80 or 90 hours a week that you want. It's good and bad. You have a lot more freedom. At the same time, you have a lot less freedom. And by that I mean you have a lot more freedom to make your own decisions. You get to make your own choices. You get to determine how you want things to work. You're not really answering to anybody else. However, you have a lot less freedom in the fact that as the boss, as the person who answers to the government, the IRS, to everybody that's a bill collector, and also having employees that depend on you to make sure that the company is running properly, it really ties you down in other ways. I never had a lot of respect for bosses and for people that had to take management roles until I owned my own business and had to take some of those roles as well. And it definitely gives me a lot more respect for what it is to work for somebody and not have to make some of those decisions. But it's great because I get to realize my dreams and I get to choose the directions of how business operates, and that is a good thing.